Hello, 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 and welcome to your Gifts for Make Room for You with Cheryl T. Ricks. And we have the amazing Sheila Zakat with us today. Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you. Hi, Cheryl. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I tell you, this amazing woman of God has just been a blessing from the moment I met her. And I didn't even know I was meeting her because we used to work in the same office building and she saw me, I saw her. And it wasn't until later we became a part of the same church, where I became a part of her church. And now we just started this beautiful friendship and we've been on this amazing journey together. And she's doing all kinds of amazing things to glorify God with her gifts, talents, and ability. So, welcome, 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 Sheila. So, what we would like for you to do is to introduce yourself and tell us some of the things that you're doing with your gifts, talents, and abilities.
Well, first of all, let me just honor the Spirit of God and just thank you so much for having me. I always feel like there's not a lot to talk about. I'm a worker bee, but we've been friends for a good while, and I just thank God for bringing you into my life. I'm so excited about the things that you're doing now, and this is what we should be doing. Sharing our gifts and talents, and that's what you're doing. So, I'm blessed and excited to be here today. What I will say, I'm from Baltimore, lived here all my life. And I'm the mother of one grown son who I absolutely adore. And I guess for me, I was born into ministry. I'm a PK. My father was a pastor, mother, first lady. And I think my journey is one where I probably had no choice. My mother was a singer. She was in charge of our choir. My mother was multi gifted as well. And she was in charge of our missionary board that we had years ago. So I came up in music. And they tell me, my auntie, I have one living auntie who's 91. And so she has been able to fill in a lot of blanks. They tell me when after service every Sunday, I would go up and just tap on the piano. I do not remember any of this. And maybe about three and a half, they tell me one day I just sat down and I started playing piano. I don't know what that was, but I can say that I have no recollection of not ever being able to play. So that's been something. The church and music is something that really has dominated my life. And I've done a lot of things in that. I eventually became a minister of music for my father's church for many years. And so after my father died, I went to the church where I am now, Power of Faith Ministries, under Bishop Michael Smith. And I've been minister of music there for about 30 years. I stepped down from the position about 2 years ago just to really, because I have a work career, I work for the state of Maryland, and just to have full retirement. What does that feel like? And so that's been an interesting journey for me as well. So I've been able to do a lot of things. In music ministry, you work with all the groups in your church, and there's nothing I think that does not require music. So it's been great. And but I also sew and I design, and my mother taught me how to sew by hand when I was about 7.5 or 8 years old. From there, I learned how to sew on a machine, and I love it. I don't do clothing anymore, but I went into crafts, and I had to stop sewing for a while because of the music ministry. The church where I am now, it just got so demanding, and it was like the Lord said, "Can you give this up for me?" And I was watching one of your other podcasts, and as a lady said, sewing is my passion. I really love it. I enjoy it. I just love working with my hands. And I said, "Yes, Lord, I can do this." And so I did. I stopped sewing for about 3 years, and to, devote that time to building our music ministry up. But I never lost my passion for creating and designing. So I went back into it. Then I went into crafts, went into home decor, and that's opened up a whole new world for me. And so I've gone into doing crafts. Crafts. I'm doing home decorations, and all kinds of things. And I am having a good time.
Isn't that what it's about? When God gave us these gifts, talents, and ability, it's something that fulfills us, something that we innately do, and something that gives us joy. If you never took them to a craft show and sold them for money, the fulfillment you get, the joy of creating something that didn't exist only in your mind. And it must
Mhm.
feels good to be able to take an idea or a thought and then create these wonderful crafts and things that you do. How does it feel to that take nothing and make something out of it? What is that like?
It's really exciting because being able to do that just allows you to use your imagination, your creativity. When I work for the state, for the Department of Human Resources, as you know, for over 30 years. And one of the projects I came up with was a tissue box cover. That was a friend of mine brought that idea to me because it was something someone had made these covers for them and all the sports teams fabrics, and there was one she did not have, so she couldn't find a lady. And she came to me, she said, well, Sheila, she said, can you do this, can you make this? And I looked at it and I said, sure, I'm sure I can. So I said, well, can I express it my way, but it'll still look like it's supposed to look? So she said, sure, go ahead. Went home, thought about it, prayed about it, and I was able to draft a pattern for that.
Okay.
And so I took it back to her, and I was saying, simultaneously, I think we had the same thought. Maybe I can reproduce this in other fabrics. I use predominantly cotton fabric because it's very forgiving, and I just enjoy working with good quality fabric. So she asked me, she said, well, can you make this out of, can you make this again? And I said, sure. So I did. I went home, I had lots of fabric, and I started, making some in different fabrics, positioning the designs so that they would look like they were supposed to look. And she brought some of her friends or coworkers in and say, well, look at this. And I started selling them. And it was so exciting. What she didn't know, Cheryl, was that I had prayed to the Lord to give me a product that I could make over and over and over again and not get tired of it. And that tissue box is what he gave me. And I'm not doing them right now, but I could go back to doing them because I'm doing some other things. But I think 2 years straight I continued to do that. Surprise to me, I did not know I would be making them for gifts. And every time I would think, okay, well, I guess there's no other reason to do them, someone would come to me, I kid you not, and say, well, Mother's Day is coming up. Can you make one of these for my mother, my grandmother, my auntie, uncles, and brothers? And I do vend, and they one of my favorite stories. I made one out of the Dallas Cowboys fabric. Okay, so she saw the tissue box cover made out of the fabric from the Dallas Cowboys. And she said, oh, I have to have that. I'm going to get it as a gift and give it to my brother. And I surmise apparently they had had a little bit of a spat. And so she bought it to give to him as a peace offering. And she was so happy that he, just to be able to find something that she knew that he liked and everything. I just love sharing that story.
That is amazing. And I've seen those tissue box covers, and because I saw them when you had them at the office, they are beautiful. And matter of fact, do you have any around you to show it? Do you have
I
any with you?
actually, I actually do.
Okay, go ahead, go get a couple.
I have one right here I can show you.
Okay.
I love the cotton fabrics because they are all kinds of designs. This is one that is made out of African fabric from Mali, and
Wow. That is so beautiful. It looks
have the
like a sofa.
that's exactly right. And it has the cowrie shells here. And my favorite thing, and you can even use it as a pin cushion.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's elasticized on the bottom so that when you finish with your tissue boxes, and you can see right in the middle, you pull your tissues out right here. This one is
Okay.
closed. And but as soon as you put it on the next box, it fits custom, it's customized to fit again. So I've done a lot of these, and I've been the stories that have come through have blessed me so much because a lot of people from the office did purchase them, and I even my boss actually purchased one for him and for himself and his wife, and he let me sell them from my office, and that was God appointed. Okay. And I'm grateful, to him, to this day. And it was just a wonderful journey, being able to do that. But I was going to say too, I would go to different offices where people had purchased them, and they never opened the tissue box. So it just ends up being like decoration or something in their office, and it just blesses me, that people would think that highly of things that I do. I enjoy what I do. I love it. But when you see your work displayed like that, it's very special. It's very.
But you know what? This is what it's all about. There's a scripture. That's why this show is called "Your Gift Will Make Room for You." The actual scripture says, "Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men." And it
Mhm.
also talks about how God has given us the ability to gain wealth, and we do those things with the gift, talents, and creative things that He teaches to do. And so people don't understand that sometimes you can have a passion, or you can have a hobby, or something you just enjoy for your own personal self, but other people can enjoy it and be willing to pay you for it. So before you started making the tissue boxes, did you sell your crafts before? Was this your very first time?
No, I have been into crafting for a number of years. When I first started sewing, I was making doll clothes for my little bar. I had a Barbie doll.
Okay.
And I also had paper dolls. And I gotta say, God bless my mother, God rest her soul. She anything in art. I used to like to color, to draw, create, cut, paste, always using my hands. Okay. Yeah, when I was growing up, my mother would feed my art. I like to say it like that because she knew I like to color, I like to draw, and things like that. So she also always made sure that I had plenty of coloring pencils, books, things like that. And but eventually she showed me how to sew. So I went from making doll clothes to making clothes for myself.
Wow.
And the whole point of design, learning how to make clothes for myself, I just didn't want to look like everybody else. I knew about the big designers, Ralph Lauren, Givenchy, and Saint Laurent, all of these designers. But I wanted to make my own clothes and look, be the designer of me. So that's what I did. I learned how to sew, how to use patterns, and I even learned how to draft patterns as well as the time went on. And I loved it. It was always something new to learn, something new to create. Eventually, I started customizing clothes for other people. And that was a journey. I've done proms, not weddings so much, but prom dresses, but suits, all kinds of things. People could come, bring their fabric. I would also do consultation on how to purchase fabrics. And some people were very loyal. They would go and come back, over and over again. So it's been a great journey. But I think just like anything in art, you always want to grow. So it's like, well, what's the next thing for me to do? So you learn how to do something else. And eventually, like I said, what happened for me, I started doing fashion shows of my own designs. And I was blessed to work with Willa Bland and her models for a number of years. That was exciting. And why I got to a point where I had to stop, as I said before, because the music got to be so demanding. So when I started sewing again, first of all, I said, well, can I still do this? Because it had been a while since I'd made any garments. And so I said, let me see what I can do. So I decided to do something very basic, and that was just make a pillow cover. And it just went so fast. And I said, I think I want to try to continue this, maybe develop it and see where I can go with this. So that's what I did. The name of my business is actually called Pillows and Stuff. So I
Okay.
learned how to make pillows in different ways. And the stuff is everything else I want to do. So,
But
and I have one of the pillows that I did a couple of years ago. This is I don't know if you can see it really good.
oh wow, that is beautiful. It looked like it's made of leather.
This is faux leather. I love it, but it's actually fabric. It's really pliable. and I've seen sofas made out of this. This silhouette, okay, and I chose this silhouette of a woman of color because I am a woman of color, but it could be any woman. We as women are nurturers, we're mothers, we're sisters, we're wives, and we play so many different roles. So this symbolically says, remember you, to take care of you, to provide for you, and to celebrate ourselves as women. So that's where that came from.
That is
Mhm.
awesome. And when we talk about how our gifts make room for us and how they add value to others, there's only one Sheila Zakat. And everything that Sheila creates can only be created by her. And now some may be a copycat or somebody that may, look at it, but it won't be the same thing because it's the heart's not going in, the spirit not going in it, the love, the passion in what you created that is not going into somebody else that does what you do. And that's what we need to understand about the unique gifts, talents, and ability that God has given us. It doesn't need to be like anybody else's, and nobody gift need to be like ours, but we need to share it with the world because this is a way that we let the world know we were once here. We left something behind that says, hey, this is a part of who I am. This is part of what makes me who I am. And I left that as a part of my legacy that I was here once. And it's so amazing that we admire so many things, like the pictures you got on the wall. Somebody created those pictures, and they may be here, they may be gone into glory, but we're still enjoying their work. So the things that we create, whatever thing it is, we're giving value and we're leaving a legacy to let people know that we were once here on this planet Earth.
We will be back after this message.
Cheryl T. Ricks is the author of the published book, Sister Circle: The Power of Sisterhood, a guide to becoming the woman God designed you to be. Cheryl is the president, founder, and CEO of the Women Empowerment Circle, LLC. Her book is changing lives. It is a book for women that describes how important unity among women is to every woman's wholeness. It shows that a sister circle will help women understand the womanhood process and how to avoid the pitfalls that women often experience. It teaches women how to value themselves and each other.
Welcome back.
Yes, actually, as I was saying, the thing I love about art and the definition of art to me is an expression of the soul. And so you get to express what is in you, to dig deep in those places where you love, places where you're excited, even places where you may hurt. The picture that's over my head is actually something that I created, something that has evolved out of my business. And
Wow.
it's actually an ode to my mother and her sisters. My mother had 7 sisters. I think there are about 9 ladies there.
Okay.
But when something would happen in the family, it would come to the women. They would get together, make a decision, help whoever needed help, whatever the situation that was going on in the family. And I think it was subliminal the way it manifested, but I wanted to create something to show the greatness of women of color. And of course, to identify with my roots, in Africa. So this picture right behind me, that's where that came from. And I've evolved into doing framed art now, which I'm really enjoying. And I have one more I can show you here. This is something I did a couple of years ago.
Oh,
And I,
yeah. Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. Woo!
so,
That needs to be in the museum, girl.
well, we're
Because
going to be,
oh, yeah.
I'm still learning about this, but it's exciting. I've done some smaller versions and I've been successful in selling them. So, again, just to remind us, and even the men, I want to do something, regarding the men and women and family. That's the thing about art. You're able to share those things and express those things that are important to you, that inspire and encourage other people as well.
Now let me ask you this. You worked 30 years with the state of Maryland. You worked over 30 years as minister of music. And you still was able to come back to your passion and joy of art and creativity. How was that journey? Being even those 3 years that God actually give it up. What was it like when you it never went away, even though it was laying dormant and you weren't working in it? What was it like to birth it again? What was it like to say, I can express this part of me? Oh my goodness, I don't have to restrict anymore. I can be this part of me. What was that like for you?
It was so exciting and so incredible. I felt, that first of all, I didn't know I could give it up because it's like a part of me. It's like I eat. That's how deep it is in me. It's just something God put in me. And it was a mode of expression. It's something I've always had. When I'm going through negatives, it's something that has gotten me through a lot of hard times. When I lose someone or something would happen, I would go through a difficult time emotionally, psychologically. The one thing I always had was my art. So I always had it. I always had a workspace. I always had machines and everything that I needed to keep it going. So that expression was just like continual. It has been continual for me in my life, much as music has been, but more so in a really deep place. So it's something I've always had. And I think even those 3 years, I wasn't actually sewing, but probably sketching and when I was going to go back to it. But it was also, I believe, a test of my faith and my allegiance to the Lord. Could I give up the thing that I love the most for the ministry? And I understood what he was asking me to do. This is something you love, but you're going to have to let it go because I need your total focus to build this music ministry, and it's being a part of the kingdom. So that part of the kingdom could be fed, that part of the kingdom could be developed. And I didn't even know that I could do that. It has been a faith walk. So the day I felt released to go back to it, it was like kicking my heels up. Hallelujah. It was a wonderful day. And I felt I had peace about it. I didn't feel like I was compromising because when God calls you to do things, you have to show that allegiance to him. And we owe God everything. Everything that is in us, it has come from him. So as we're able to express and show him that we love him by being obedient and being faithful to him, the blessings come back to us. I didn't do it to get the blessings. I was already blessed, but I knew in my spirit it was a sacrifice that I had to make to just give up that one thing that I'd always had with me. And I just feel blessed to be able to do it. The rewards have been just enormous. I just can't even tell you in words.
Now, there's a lot of people working a job to pay a bill, to provide for themselves, and they have gift talents and ability that land dormant. They are passionate about it, they enjoy it, it's fulfilling, and like you, it's even therapeutic when they need that release or that time to work through whatever challenges they're facing. But they just can't seem to go where their heart is leading them to let go of that 9 to 5, or even if they keep the 9 to 5, how can they include those things that they have passion for, those things that God is calling them to create, to give to humanity? What would you say to somebody who they have these gift talents and ability, but they just can't make time for them? They don't make time, or people pull at them and they just can't seem to fit it in their lives. What would you say?
I would just encourage you, someone to just, first of all, just go to God because he's the center of everything. He made us, he created us, he knows everything that is in us and what he created us to do. Go to him. And if you have an idea of what you're here to do, just say it. Sometimes we don't even want to express it. One of the things I've been blessed to do for the last 6 or 7 years, I started the sister circle when I moved to this house because I knew God had another assignment for me. I had no idea that I would be involved with other people. I just thought I'd be coming here, relaxing in my retirement and just kind of, doing what I want to do. But the point of bringing these ladies together was to do exactly what you're asking me, to encourage them, to motivate, to inspire them to go after that thing that's so strong in them. These women, a lot of them are professional women. We have an attorney in our group. We have a couple of authors in our group. We have one lady who's a former director of an educational facility. We have ministers and teachers in our group. But everyone is trying to look for, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? So we've been able to, a lot of times it's really about finding your tribe. A lot of times it's about finding your community. When you can identify with someone else who is having a similar life situation, maybe you've been called to be a nurse, maybe you've been called to work with children, but just being able to come together. And sometimes, Cheryl, it's just saying it. Sometimes we can't even express it because we have been knocked down. We have been disencouraged, even by our own family. But that if that burning is in you, even if you've muffled it a little bit, just allow yourself to say, well, it would be nice if I could, dot, dot, dot. In this group, I've seen our ladies grow. One of our ladies has started a podcast just as yourself, and it's been years in the making. We have another lady who has written another book, all kinds of things, because we found community where we talk about all kinds of things that motivate and encourage, and we create a safe space where you can be yourself, you feel protected, your information. And we've had breakthroughs, we've had breakouts, we've had celebrations, just to see different ones come through and say, like someone would say, well, guess what, y'all? One of our last conversations was about being organized. Having places in our homes, our cars, our offices to organize. How do we get to clutter, mess? And so we've had even sharing. We have two online ways that we can communicate, beyond email. So when we have little breakouts and little celebrations or successes rather, then someone can say, guess what? Because I was one of them, I cleaned out my cupboard today. Yay for you. So what I would say is, first of all, allow yourself to express your inner desires. And then maybe one of the ways is to find community to help support and encourage you and motivate you, inspire you to become. It's exciting.
One of the things that I realized on my own journey is that God has put a treasure chest of gifts, talents, and abilities down in all of us. And periodically, we need to go treasure hunting to see what else God has got down in us that He can get glory out of us with. Because we can do something for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. And like, you know what? God is progressive. He always wants to do new things. He wants to do things, better than you've done them before. So we have to reconnect with ourselves, and we have to get to the place in our relationship with us where we get in touch with who we are and where we are in our life and what we want and what we feel God is leading us to. And that's an intimate relationship that we have with God, so we can start having that really personal, intimate self conversation with us about us when we're at different places in our lives. And I'm telling you, that is huge. And we all need a community, whether you're a man, a woman, a boy, a girl. We all need our own village so that we can grow. We're not going to grow alone in isolation. We're going to grow together as a village. And so when people learn that they have these gift, talents, abilities that they lie dormant in their lives, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm ready to transition. I'm ready to retire, or I'm ready to do something new. What will I do? And like the advice you gave, connecting with God and having the conversation with Him. One day when I was first starting my career, I'm like, when I retire, this is what I would like to do. Or, once I get to be a certain age and I don't have to raise children, this is what I would like to do. If the time comes and I have more time than I used to, I want to do this. Just being creative, just have the conversation, like you said, even just saying, maybe I could this, or maybe I could that. And it's important to have these conversations with ourselves and, of course, with God, because God knows what He created us for, just like you said. So when we go to Him, like, hey, I've already got your life predestined, and you are now in the season of this. I'm finished over here. I need you to go here now. And if we let God lead and guide us, we will surely find where He wants us to be, and we will be fulfilled. So what I like to do these last few minutes is to tell people how how some of those challenges that you had in your life created the successes you had in your life. I know you were saying that when you were using your art to get through the challenging times, how did your art really help you grow from one version of Sheila to the next version of Sheila? What was that like? Did your expression of art change as you were changing on your journey?
It absolutely did. And as I said, to start out in the very beginning, making paper doll clothing. And I was never the person, you get the paper doll, and I'm going to use this as an example. And I was never happy with the clothes that they came. So I had to make my own clothes. I would design the clothes. I've always been aware of textures, of colors. And I think that comes from my mother. My mother was just an amazing, she just knew how to wear clothing. She had all kinds of fabrics, and she just wasn't not, my mother was not a one note. So somehow I think I gravitated to color, texture, those kinds of things I could detect even as a child. I could tell you if someone would run across the street, say, for whatever reason, I might not be able to tell you what they look like in their face, but I could tell you what they were wearing and what their colors were. Detail always has been with me. But to go from paper doll to actually making doll clothes, I had an auntie who worked for, I think it was Joseph Banks, and she used to bring me fabric, high
Oh,
quality fabric. So I started at home. My Barbie doll was the sharpest Barbie
I
doll in the
know
whole
that's
world.
right, girl.
But from that to learning how to make clothing, and it's just been progressive. And I've always, to learn how to make my own clothing, how to tailor, and then to make clothing for other people, which was really, really demanding. And to go from that. So it's been an evolution kind of thing. But when I was going through really hard times, um, I always felt like I had an outlet. I didn't have to go someplace and just be depressed. I didn't have to go someplace and do things to bring harm to myself. I always had it as a way to continue to express myself in a positive way. And I found even it would go deep because I was always seeking what else can, like you said, those treasure chests. What else is in me? Okay, I've learned how to make a skirt. I've learned how to make a dress. But can I do pleats? Can I do gathers? Can I do tucks? Can I do ruffles? And it was always a challenge. Can I put in a lining? Can I do an interlining and all these kind of things? Buttons, buttonholes. I just kept going and going. And it was always a progressive thing, just a progressive journey. And it's come from clothing to custom designing, even to doing the crafts today. So I've gone from making pillows to pot holders, to actually doing framed art. And that's kind of where I am now. And it's just exciting. And I know there's so much more.
I know that's right. Like I said, He's got it in us. I remember one day I was in a shelter and this lady she was an artist and she was drawing this bird perched on a tree branch. And I looked at her and I never drew. My sisters and brothers, all of them could draw, but I never could. I never knew I could. I just never felt like I had that skill. But I watched her create this picture with the bird sitting on the branch. And I just looked at it and I looked at it and I drew the same bird, not even knowing that was laying dormant in me. I have yet to do it since then, but it was there. What else is in me? I didn't even know I could write books. It's not even me writing the books because when God writes books, he downloads them to you. You're not trying to write it like a research paper. What should I say? Where should it go? It's not like that. But it's amazing how God will grow us in our lives. He'll grow our lives and he'll grow us while we're living our lives. And he'll say, you know what? This is a part that I put in you that I need you to share with the world today. Or this is a part that I need you to express in yourself today. And even with me, before this book came, my first book became a book, I wanted to make an artistic experience, artistic expression without talking. And I did it in the book. I wasn't verbally talking, but I wrote it in a book. And now my books are even in audio form. Go figure. But but it's just such an amazing journey if we would just allow ourselves to heal as we go, process the things we've gone through, learn the lessons of life that life teaches us or want to teach us, learn who we are and how we're evolving. A lot of us have gone through things, we've done things, or we've made decisions and choices that didn't serve us well. But we have overcome, we have survived, and we are now a better and different version of who we used to be. So just grabbing hold with embracing who we are today, absent from who we used to be, and just letting God bring out of us what he put in us so that he can get glory and that we can bless the people that God have us to share our blessings with. So it's just been amazing just sharing, hearing all this wonderful, amazing things that God has allowed you to do in your life. So tell us how we can, how people can find you, how they can find your artwork, just how can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. Okay. I don't have a web page, but right now I'm working on a Facebook page for Pillows and Stuff. And it should be, prayerfully, it'll be ready around April. What it's going to be is a blog where the things that I'm making, I'm going to be sharing the little tiny stories about what motivated me to do this, but they will also be for sale. And I'll set up something so if someone wants to purchase something, they'll be able to do that as well. So just stay tuned.
Okay, but do you have an email or something that you can share?
I have my email address, all lowercase, M as in Mary, D as in David, underscore, S like in Sam, Z as in zebra, AKAT at hotmail.com.
All right, all right. Well, it has just been a joy and a privilege to
I'm on
just
Instagram.
talk more in depth with you. I mean, I know a lot about you, but a lot of the things that you shared today, I had no idea. And I'm so glad to find out all about it because it just makes me more in awe of your awesomeness than I was before you told me all these things today. But God bless you. Keep letting the Lord use you. I can honestly say that the Lord is well pleased with your expression of Him through your gift, talents, and ability. So continue to do what you're doing. God bless. Bye
God
bye.
bless.